For those of you that are here from my J Daddy's Garage channel, you know that I do a lot of car stuff, Mustangs and stuff like that. And I do a lot of repair work, body work, and all kinds of different things. And I wanted to do a video on this channel that kind of interacts with that channel. So today I decided I wanted to do some more body work on the Mustang that I'm currently building. And if you want to check that out, go check out my other channel. And it's a 66 Mustang convertible that I'm building. And I know I need to do some more body filler work or body work, and it's going to require adding some more body filler to it. Now a lot of the sides of the car are relatively flat in relation to each other. They do have some subtle curves, but it's not that hard to believe that, you know, the pieces of the side of the car are flat. And when I had the body shop, I had some of these, or we had some of these long straight line sanders. Now I was at Harbor Freight the other day and I saw this sander and I thought I was going to check it out and see if it was any good. I read some reviews and the reviews were positive, so I went today and I picked this up. Now the price on this was $109, but I had a 20% off coupon which I used. And along with that coupon, you get one of these little handy dandy lights. And I'm a fan of any kind of lights. So this will come in handy in various locations. May end up putting it in our camper. I'm not sure just yet, but you know, you can see that it's a pretty handy little thing. So I got that, and I also bought a roll of 80 grit sandpaper. Now this brand is also Harbor Freight or Warrior, who they sell, and I plan to use that along with this Baxter sander and see how it works. Now I'm going to do a little experiment. This is my paint booth area, and this is jade. This is a 68 Mustang that has been worked on off and on for quite some time. And when I find free time, when I'm not working on a customer car, I work on jade. So you can go back and check the videos on the other channel for that as well if you're interested. But I'm going to open up this box and set up the sander, and we're going to try it out on one of the doors that I put some filler on for jade. So let's open it up. Obviously it has instructions, and a lot of it has to do with probably airflow and regulating the air and keeping it dry and all those sort of things, and probably some basic maintenance tips. There you go. Oil port, handle trigger, air inlet. And what I like about this one is it says it's a dual piston. So dual piston for smooth, consistent power, 1-inch stroke, 15-inch shoe. So I think it's going to work just fine. The thing looks pretty well built. Usually when you look at stuff and you can tell if, say, the padding is crooked or not glued on correctly, but this all looks pretty accurate. Of course, it's got a plug here in the air inlet. And before use, oil, air inlet, and side port. That sounds pretty important. So we'll do that. You can see here's the trigger for it. And then, of course, it has a front handle. Now, I don't know if you ever used one of these, but they are quite handy. And you can, I'll show more detail as I use it later on, but there are techniques to using this and getting good results. You can see it's got these flip up. There it goes. So that's your jaws where you put your paper in and lock that back in place. we'll get to that in just a minute. I will also point out that I picked up a little 1/4 inch male plug or air inlet, and I'll put some Teflon tape on there and install that in the back port. So I've got some Teflon tape, and you know, it's always a challenge, let's say, to get this tape to go on the right way. But if you envision it, if you were turning this into this port clockwise, basically do the same thing with the tape, because you want the end of the tape to trail the direction that you're turning. So I'll put a few wraps on that. And like I said, I'm turning it so the end of the tape is pulling away. If I were to turn this the other way, that tape would want to come off. Pretty simple to use. Shred that in. And 9/16 wrench. And that's it. So now I will get some oil and get this ready to operate. So I have some oil, Century Pneumatic air tool oil, and there's a screw head right here on the side. It's going to take a Phillips screwdriver, break that loose, remove that carefully, don't lose it, and there's a little oil hole. So I'm just going to try to get a drop of oil in there, maybe 2. Put the plug back in place. And then also in the rear, I'll put a couple drops. It's probably already oiled from the factory, but it doesn't hurt to add a little more. Now I also want to point out that, of course, the sandpaper comes on a roll and has some tape around it, and I've already removed that. So you can just pull this out from one side, and these little metal plates here help keep it in place. And this is, of course, it says 25 feet long. So what I plan to do is there's a couple ways I could do this, I guess. I could just lay it on the table and compare the length. Or I could measure the length of the shoe, which is just a little under 16 inches. And then I could lay out the sandpaper to about maybe 17 inches, somewhere in that range, and cut it. At this point, what I'm going to try to do is set this on the sandpaper, get an idea of how much I really need by folding up the end there. And it looks like maybe 3/4 of an inch, so I'm just going to do it that way. And then I'll release the clamps, roll that end in. I think that'll work just fine. Well, we'll take up some air and see what happens. That sounds healthy. Now you can see the areas that I've already applied filler to, just roughed in. Nothing fancy here. there was a hole here, or a rusted area, and I repatched it and filled it. And believe it or not, this was a bullet hole. It went all the way through the door. Well, that seemed to do a pretty decent job, actually. It was knocking that down pretty quick. And again, I'm not using this for finish work. I'm just using this for more or less for roughing in at this point. And this isn't about doing body work. This video is just a review of the Baxter inline air sander. And so far, I think it's going to suit my needs. So like I said, this is just a video to review this Baxter inline air sander. It's not about doing body work and to show you how to do all that stuff. If you want to see that, go to my other channel, J Daddy's Garage, and there's plenty of videos on body work and stuff like that. So check that out. I think this is a decent air sander. I know it's not, you know, a Hustler brand or Ingersoll or any of those companies, but for the price and for what I'm going to use it for, I think it's going to be just fine. So if you would, please leave a comment below, give a thumbs up, share, subscribe, all those cool things. I want to try to keep this channel growing, and doing videos like this I think will help, but I need to hear back from viewers like you and have a little help as well. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Stay tuned. Bloopers coming next. And again, this tool isn't expensive compared to other brands like Hustler and maybe Ingersoll brand. I don't even know. I want it to grow, and I'm just trying to I'm not here to show you how to do videos. I'm not here to show you how to... What am I here to show you? What? I am here to show you videos. Who knows what I might do next, but I'm enjoying showing stuff like this, and maybe you can get some value out of it as well, or at least some entertainment.